Yeah, yeah. Start now.
Okay, you want me to start, sir?
I just
Give the brief introduction. We will start, sir,
Okay,
shortly.
okay, sir.
So, yes. Good afternoon to all. I welcome you all again to this third session of the fourth day of the FDP program, 5 days FDP program on Natal, hosted on Central University of Technology and Management, Odisha, India. Today we have uh, our speaker, G. Satish sir, to deliver his demonstration on ANSYS. Before starting the session, I like to introduce over to you participants. Mr. Satish is presently working as an application engineer at Entropil Technologies based on Bangalore, India. He is about years experience in technical resource for the field Salesforce, identifying providing reliable solutions for all technical issues to ensure complete customer satisfaction through all stages of sales process. Prior to their joining in this company, he was with Niti Meenakshi Institute of Technology NMIT as resource associate in R&D Center, Mechanical Engineering Department, Bangalore from 2012 to 2016. At this institute, he has assisted is carrying out sponsor projects uh, such as modeling and simulation of transitional flows and several undergraduate project works. He also conducted many sessions for technical seminars, gained strong background in CFD coding techniques and published papers. He holds MTech in thermal power engineering specializations and Bachelor in mechanical from Visvesvaraya Technological University, Karnataka. With these short introductions, I request Satish sir welcoming you to this platform where we have all our participants to address about your session. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, sir. And uh, I'll like to thank before I start my session. I'd like to thank Dr.
Please,
Shekhar Majumdar, sir.
sir, can you
Yeah,
on the video, sir? It will be.
okay,
Yes, sir. Thank
okay.
you, sir.
Yeah, as hope you're saying. So I'd
Yes,
like
sir.
to
Yes.
thank. I'd like to thank first of all before starting the session. I'd like to thank Dr. Shekhar Majumdar sir and Dr. Ashok Mishra sir for giving me the opportunity to present on ANSYS and give a demo on that. So thanks for you, sir. And I'll be sharing the screen. Please confirm uh, whether my screen is visible or not.
Yes,
yes,
screen is
well,
well, yeah,
yeah,
visual.
visual. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yes, sir. Thanks once again, sir. And I'll be giving first. I'll be discussing the ANSYS capabilities. This is this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Satish
Satish
ji.
ji.
I'll go. Yes, sir.
Yeah, just one, just little bit louder.
Okay.
Yeah, sound is less, I think.
Yeah, I hope. Okay, sir. Okay, sir. I think I'll remove the headset then. I think that will be great. So, am I now audible, sir? Clearly? Hello?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, so these are the contents I'll be discussing. One will be on ANSYS CFD capabilities, introduction to ANSYS CFD, what are the CFD capabilities that we have in ANSYS, and how does CFD helps in COVID? So far, we have done some simulations on social distancing, wearing a mask, so while running. So these are some kind of simulations that we have done, and I'll be showing those, presenting those also here. And overview of CFD process. As you all know, what is the goal that you need to define? How do you define your domain of interest? So these are the things that I'll be discussing in overview of the CFD process, and later on I'll be giving in one small demo on 2D aerofoil. So going ahead, so what are the different applications that we usually use in ANSYS, like, aerospace and defense? So we have an aerospace and defense, we have engineering simulation, to increase the efficiency of the systems, difficulty on real life testing, motivating the engineers to use the simulation in order to do their research, right? So, and operating the new systems. Many defense companies rely on the software instead of going to the theory or experimental part. They rely on the software or CFD simulation software to help their reduce their cost effect and in prototyping and physical test. So in all these major areas, I'm saying, and all these major areas, what you see here is aerospace and defense, automotive. In automotive, if you consider what are the applications that CFD is using, like, if you buy a small car, also you need an HVAC in that system, right? So we are looking for a less cost with the maximum options that we can use it here. If you are taking an automotive example as a car, so how does that combustion takes place? How does the fuel and air mixture takes place? So those that will be seeing in the automotive, like, what will be the acoustics, air, lift and drag in that when it is moving at a different speeds, right? So in construction also, like, whenever you are designing your building, so you need to see what is the maximum air efficiency that is coming in, or the maximum light that has to be natural light, right? So in that way you'll be designing it, or you'll be designing with respect to the HVAC in the internal buildings. So how do you so that's keeping those points in mind, and you'll be using those in the construction also, right? So in consumer goods, like, we have many, like, like, say for example, a little mixer grinder, you can say mixer grinder, and the mixie is rotating at a different RPM as you rotate the knob, right? So it has a minimum RPM with ingredients in that, particles which are getting smaller size because of that RPM with the blades, right? As you increase the speed, it goes on, right? So what will be that maximum efficiency that for a different RPM that you will be getting? So that you can use an example here, right? And in an energy business also, and in healthcare, we have a lot of applications. And in high tech, say, if you in a simple building, if you have an servers, big servers you have, and there should be an effective airflow that should be happen, and it should take out the heat from those servers to outside the atmosphere. So if you are not providing the suitable environment to the servers or to the high-tech processors, what it will do, it will hang the system, and it will know what are the runnings are going, or the simulation runs are going to take place running. So it will try to stop, it will stop, it will crash the system, right? So you need to maintain the system, maintain between that heat which is generated by the high-tech servers, and you need to maintain the balance by providing the air to that, like, AC example, right? So, and industrial equipment and rotating machineries, where you have a stationary and rotating blades, wherever you have this, like, screw propellers example I'm saying. So if you take as a screw propeller, so how do you design it? So what will be the maximum efficiency when it is in the water? Or if that is taken to simple material and chemical process also, you will be taking what will the chemical erosion when it is continuously in the salt water, right? So that also will come into picture, like, materials and chemical processing. Most of the like, refining polymers of the materials for aircrafts and all, they are trying to use very reliable materials in the aerospace industry also. So these are the some of the applications. I'll not say that these are only the applications. These are some of the applications that you'll be seeing in as a CFD application, right? So going ahead, here I can tell you like some of the industries or some of the industries that are actively using ANSYS. Example I can say here is aerospace. You have ISRO. I think you have heard all these company names like Boeing, Airbus, Volvo, Toshiba, Samsung, Ford, Bosch. So these are some of the companies that are that industries actively using their to develop their product. Okay. So going ahead, I'll be, this is one video I'll like to show. This is like a career opportunity. Like, you know, if somebody is, if some product is coming out of the industry or some product is developing, so who will play a very important role? Like, you know, if you will be having a student, engineer, scientist behind it, you will have an entrepreneur behind it, right? So if the product is coming out, these are the persons or these are the people who will play an important role in that development. So I'll just play this. Sorry.
For every innovation sees the light of day.
I think it is hanging.
And every robot learns on its own. Before every automobile safely drives itself. Every rocket ship reaches the stars. Before every product is printed out of thin air. And every digital twin prevents a tragedy. Before every baby takes her first breath. And every virtual reality becomes reality. Before every student has the world at their fingertips. And every patient gets his sight back. Before all this can become real, there is a designer, an entrepreneur, an engineer, a student, a scientist, a visionary, tirelessly working to create a better world, using the most powerful, the most pervasive simulation technology on the planet. Before every product delivers on its promise, there is ANSYS.
So with that video, I'll be continuing my talk, which why it is important. Like, you know, why do we need an importance in simulation? So many industries rely on the software itself nowadays. Like, you know, earlier we used to do only depending on the theory, we used to do experiment, and we need to we used to justify the between those, like, you know, theory and experiment part or a physical test that you are going to do, right? So before going into because that will be very costly for doing a prototype and doing a physical test. So instead of that, if you are using a computer engineering simulation, like, you know, software, so where it will help you in reduction of that, and with the help of HPC, like, you know, high performance computing, it will be a very much fast. You will be getting the results for a different whatever might be the scale. So different for a HPCs like a high performance computing, you'll be having you can do real scale models, working on real scale models. Say here I have different examples, like here you can do a conjugate heat transfer with a completely where you can do a CFD analysis in the internal flow, and externally you can do a structural analysis also, like through FSI type of simulations, like multi-physics I'm saying. And here you can see a big servers where the where it will be emitting a lot of heat. So how do you make an fins arrangement where the heat transfer is taken from those it has to throw out that heat, right? So from a real pin to airplane kind of models you can use for a simulation. So that is where we need actually. So theory and experiment we can justify, and only when you're when you're doing experiment, you will have those physical test and prototyping. So that is a very costly. So instead of that, going into a simulation software will be very much easy for you to learn or to give the results very quickly, and understand the physics or behavior behind it. And going ahead, you can develop your physical test after that and do a prototype, right? So that's why we need an importance. And here pre-processing, like what are the steps that are involved in CFD analysis? So here you have pre-processing. Pre-processing is nothing but where you will be developing your CAD model either from the scratch, or you can import that in the from the other format also. From the other, say for example, you have a CATIA, you have a ProE, you have SolidWorks. So from the other models also you can import those in the in this in this SpaceClaim or in this ANSYS software, where you can import it and clean the geometry before going into the meshing or in the solving part. You need to clean your geometry, right? So in the pre-processing, this is what you do from the as I said, from the scale to from the small to large scale CAD models. You can work on and later you can do the same meshing process. So here I have one workbench meshing. So here I have an meshing with the different components here. So this is the pre-processing, right? You will be giving a boundary. You will be designing your CAD model, then meshing, then giving the boundary conditions. Then after that, you will be coming into the solving part. Processing is like solving part. What are the equations that you will be activating for those type of applications? What you have started, like say for example, you want to do fluid heat transfer and fluid flow analysis, and or else you want to do a multi-physics type. Right here, you have a dam break. So when the dam is braked and the valve is open, so the water flows into the canals, right? So how does that behavior? How does that fluid flow behavior? Also, you can do even multi-phase models. Also, we have in Fluent. You have an heat transfer. You have an heat exchanger. You have combustion models also. So depending on those applications, you will be solving it, and later on you will be doing a post processing. So you will be validating your results, whether with respect to the boundary conditions that you have given. So whether these results are these with respect to that, whether it is behaving correctly or not, that you will be checking it. You will be verifying with quantitative and qualitative, like with respect to the numbers and with respect to the images also, right? So that we'll be doing in the post processing. And this is what the images, like flow over a cylinder, if you see that also you can see, you can do analysis. Here it is a 3D one, here it is a 2D with a dam break. Okay, so these are the general steps that are involved in CFD analysis, right? And meshing. So workbench, we have a different models in meshing. One is ANSYS workbench meshing, which is a general purpose meshing, which is called, you can do a meshing for a surface, hybrid, tetra, prism, and hexamesh also you can do. These are the element types. that you can, and particular most of the time that workbench meshing is used as a multi-physics for a multi-physics simulation. You can do a design exploration also, right? So this is one of the module that we have in ANSYS that is called ANSYS workbench meshing. Okay. And in ISM CFD meshing, we can do both structured and unstructured meshing with a block method as a for a unstructured structured mesh, where the element type you can do hexa, prism, and tetra. And you can export the third-party tools, third-party solvers, like, you know, if you are using any other tool, or if you have saved in a .msh file, so you can import that file into this ISM CFD, and you can make edit your model, improve your quality, and you can improve your the size also. So everything can be done here in ISM CFD. Particularly, most of the time they use for aircraft engines, like, you know, near the fuselage, near the wing, so near the tail, near the nose. So how do you mesh it? So with a less time, you can make a very good mesh here in the ISM CFD. Whereas in Workbench and Fluent, you'll be having a lot of graphics there. Here there is less graphics involved in ISM CFD. So using blocking method, you can do a very good quality mesh here with a minimum number of elements. Okay. And in Fluent meshing, this is like advanced CFD meshing, where you have two workflows. One is like Fluent watertight meshing and fault tolerant meshing. Okay. So Fluent watertight meshing is like when before going into watertight, what you need to do is you need to clean up your geometry. The geometry should be free from errors when you are handling, when you're doing a workflow with a watertight geometry. So that's why it is called a watertight. And later on, fault tolerant meshing. In fault tolerant meshing, even the CAD has some issues, you can directly import the CAD into the fault tolerant meshing, and you can edit, you can make changes, you can clear the geometry, you can clean the geometry there, and you can mesh it. So you have two workflows. So that's why we are saying it as an advanced CFD meshing. Here also you can here 2D meshing is not possible, only for a 3D CAD models it is you can mesh it. So this is also used for large and very complex geometries also, you can do a meshing. So these are the important meshing models that we have in ANSYS. Later, going into Fluent, we have you know, Fluent and CFX. CFX and Fluent are both one and the same. Okay, so just a minute. Sorry. So Fluent and CFX. So here you can do what you can do is, in Fluent you can do a underhood and a cabin management of a truck. Say for example, underhood in the sense, like, you know, if you want to do a fluid flow analysis or a combustion process in the engines, like, you know, what is the fuel air mixture that's going into the engines, right? So that also you can do analysis here, right? And fluid flow over a car, like, you know, to get your coefficients. So that also you can do. And HVAC, as I already said, if a basic car also it is there, you need a HVAC nowadays, right? So that's for that also, you know, you can use Fluent and a CFX models to do those simulations, right? So this is a general idea I'm giving. So Fluent and CFX are both the same, only it uses a background code. Fluent, whatever it is using, so it will use CFX also. CFX also is using the same background code in order to solve fluid flow problems robustly. Okay. And coming to the next, we have IcePack. IcePack is for particularly electronics cooling software, where you can design your fins, where you can design your number of fans also, how many number of fans you can add a model there directly with how many number of blades and with what diameter it should be needed. So that you can do your analysis, and to select your, you know, to do a thermal mechanical stresses and airflow analysis over a PCB board, and to select an ideal heat sink or for fan solution, right? So at what RPM it should be there. That also everything can also be designed. If you want to design your new PC board also, you can take this, use this IcePack as a software, and you can start doing your analysis, right? And Forte, here you can, Forte is like combustion processes, where you can see chemistry with a number of species transport model. You can use the number of materials. You can use a number of materials, and using a species transport model, you can simulate the flow. So this is Forte is particularly for a internal combustion engines, right? And later FunSap is for icing simulation, icing in the inside icing simulations at a different altitude. Say, for example, if you are going at a 60, 80, so there will be a low pressure. Because of the low pressure, the icing occurring at the fin, the wings and the propeller, at the propellers, right? So how to avoid it? How to see that icing simulation? How to do the icing simulation by using FunSap? So that you can do it. And later Polyflow is for polymers, like how does the shrinkage that is happening for if you want to design any new material or new model. So you can do mold analysis also in a Polyflow. So particularly these are Polyflow is used for polymers, like paints simulation. So those categories it comes under. Okay. So going into the next stage of what we have is solver capabilities. Like Fluent, I have already said, it is a flexible and efficient workflow what we have here. Okay. So I'll just show one window here. Sorry. Have to share. Yes. So hope you are seeing this, right? I hope you are seeing this. Please let me know if you are not seeing.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is audible.
Yeah. So this is how the Fluent looks like. Latest version. This is like 2020 R2. We are seeing it. So here you can see here setup, solution, results, parameters and customization. So this is where you will import the geometry, like right clicking and importing the geometry you can do, right? So you can read a mesh. Sorry, you can read a mesh. You can read a case file if it is there, a data file or a case and data file, both you can read it. Okay. So this is how it looks. This is how it the window or on workflow of this Fluent looks like. Okay. So I was just showing you that, and we'll continue with the PPT. So solver capabilities. Solver capabilities is ANSYS Fluent. So ANSYS solver capabilities. So here we have like a flexible and very user-friendly platform where you can easily import, read the mesh, give the boundary conditions, and give the models whatever you want to do a simulation, and you can run here. So at the end of the presentation, I'll be giving one demo on that also. And most of the complex models, like multi-phase simulations can also be done, and chemical reactions and combustions. So that also can also be done in ANSYS Fluent. Okay. And you have heat transfer and radiation models, heat exchanger models also, where you can do a fully and semi-transparent to radiation also you can do. Here there is an example of an shell and tube heat exchanger, right? So with one inlet there will be a cold fluid which is coming, and one through other inlet you'll be having a hot fluid which is coming in, right? So this is the those types heat transfer simulations can also be done, and you can see a turbulent modeling, like turbulent equations like one equation model, two equation model, three equation models. So these all the equation models, it has been there in Fluent, so you can use those and you can get your results. Okay. So going ahead here, I'll tell you. See, at a t is equal to, say for example, at a t is equal to 0, this was at a vertical. So as the time goes, so you can see the water level, it is coming, right? You can see the fluid layer. So that is what the dam break it is happening here. Okay, 1 second, I will just. So this is how the dam break, you can see a dam break simulation here. So this is a water is patched up at this till that surface, and later you will see at a time, as the time goes, so you can see a fluid behavior, right? So this is the dam break simulation. And later going into this one, where with wind tunnels and all, that is very difficult to set up this type of problems. So in the fluent, if you are I think maximum time you will be getting here as a 2 days, 2 to 3 days. You can do this simulation in fluent. Okay, by using fluent, you can set up and you can see a store separation with a 6 DOF. Using a 6 DOF method, you can calculate the forces. It will try to rotate in transitional and rotational, right? So those 6 DOF also you can calculate those forces also here. Okay, so you can see with simple setup, if you want to do a simple setup also, it will give you a lot of time, and whether and there should be free from errors also, experimental errors. So in the simulation, there will nothing be you will not see anything like that. Only thing, you have to create your model, or if you have any model which is already there, you can import it and mesh it, and you can give a boundary conditions, and you can use we have two methods. Either you can use dynamic mesh with overset, and dynamic mesh with remeshing also. So there are two methods to solve this type of problems. Okay, maximum you'll be taking 1 week if you are new to the software and all. So you can easily set up a simulation within 3 days, and you can get your results. Okay, same example which we have done for one of the corporate R&D labs. So here you see two stores which are two store separation that you are seeing here, right? So same example, he has with a 2D simulation he has done it. Okay, so this is the 2D simulation. This will be the 3D one, right? So going ahead, we have FSI also, fluid structure interaction, where because of the fluid flow, you can see because of the fluid flow, this flap is it is getting deformed. Like you have, I think many of the people you have seen, like with the current poles. Say for example, you have current poles you have seen, right? Because of the fluid flow or a wind, because of the wind blowing over a fluid electric poles, it automatically bends, right? So this is the same example that we have taken, only that this is, and the geometry is different. So here you can see a flap analysis because of the fluid flow. You can see a deformation that is happening to that flap, right? So this is one of the multi physics application, and that can be the other examples will be on exhaust systems, and the other one will be on gas turbine blade deformation also. So you can see applications. There are many applications multi-physics. I am just talking about few here. And later, this is a simple T pipe where you can see a maximum deformation that is happening at this place, right? Because of the fluid flow. So you can see the maximum deformation that is happening at this place. So the fluid data here, how it does is the fluent data, the pressure data, when you go into the mechanical, it will transfer into the load. So that's how it will transfer the load. The pressure data is entirely transferred to the mechanical as a load. So at that point, you can get these results. Okay, so later going into ANSYS CFX. ANSYS CFX is same as an same simulation tool which we have seen in Fluent, like wide range of fluid problems. It can solve wide range of fluid problems. So it is also more reliable and accurate solutions you will be getting quickly. And most of the times, like most of the end users, they have said, right, so they have got an efficient very good results when they are using a turbo machinery type of problems. Okay, so like blades with one stationary, one rotation, so impeller types or screw pluggers, turbo simulations, right? So ANSYS CFX is particularly used for all kinds of models, like multi-phase also you can do. You can do combustion analysis, you can do chemical reaction analysis. So most of the users, they have said like they have got the results or very accurately when they are using for a turbo machinery type of problems. Okay, and going ahead. Okay, so here we have one ANSYS AIM. ANSYS AIM is like a multi-physics platform, multi-physics platform where you can do in a single window itself. You can do a fluid flow analysis, and you can do a structural analysis also. Okay, there should be a video here. It is not playing. So here you can see a fluid flow analysis here. See here, so fluid flow analysis you can do, and immediately you can transfer the data in the single window itself. In this single window itself, you can transfer the data of pressure data to the structural part here. So that is also is possible here in ANSYS AIM. ANSYS AIM is like user-friendly multi-physics window. Okay, you can do a fluid flow, and here you can do structural analysis in a single window, like displacement magnitude, total deformation, what is the stresses. So everything you can do it here, and you can do conjugate heat transfer analysis also. I don't know why the videos are not playing. So you can do conjugate heat transfer also, like because of the fluid flow or temperature, you can see how the temperature is affecting to the or the fluid, because of the fluid flow with the temperature. So how it is affecting the structure of that component. So that analysis, that thermal deformation also you can find out in ANSYS AIM in a single window. Okay. In earlier, what we used to do is we used to share a data. We used to share a data from the fluid to the mechanical. But here in the single window itself, you can do it in ANSYS. That is, you can do it in ANSYS AIM. Okay. Okay, we have here thermal FSI. See here you can do one second. I think it is taking a lot of internet, so maybe it's hanging from my side. I'll just share my screen again. Please confirm. Oh, so are you able to see this? Please confirm that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. There is a little trouble here. Here what you can do is, here you can do a one-way FSI and a two-way FSI assimilations also can also be done here. Okay, one-way FSI is what is one-way FSI in the sense, like the transfer of data. Here one-way FSI, because of the fluid flow and the heat transfer, you can transfer the temperature data into the or a heat transfer coefficient data to the mechanical here, mechanical thermal system. That is, either you can transfer the data into a steady state thermal that we have one of the model in an ANSYS workbench. You can transfer the data there, or you can transfer the steady state transient structure analysis also. So in one way, what you do is you will do a steady state analysis. One way is for steady state analysis, and two way, whenever you are doing, so you can you have to do through system coupling. You need to do two-way analysis, where how this works is through system coupling. The CFD data, whatever is there for one iteration, it will example I am taking for one iteration, whatever the results are there, it is transferred to the mechanical, and for one iteration, whatever the mechanical data is there, it will transfer to CFD. So both, there will be a communication between, whenever for those number of iterations, it will be communicating between these two, CFD and mechanical. So the pressure data is transferred to the mechanical as a load, and mechanical load is transferred to the pressure data as a in the CFD. So immediately there will be a communication between the CFD model and a mechanical model in the two way. So this is entirely thermal based. You can take an example where you see these type of applications, like with the fluid flow heat transfer type of applications. Either it might be one way or two way. You can do it through system coupling, where the system coupling will help you to transfer the data of the CFD to mechanical and mechanical to the CFD. So that is where it comes. Okay. So I'll just take few example here, which is on COVID-19, we have worked on some of the models here. It is not playing.
Hello.
Yes, sir. The system got hanged. Just a minute, sir.
Okay. Okay.
I'll share the screen again. I'm closing the slides. Yeah, I hope it is sharing the screen now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm really sorry for that. Yeah, so we'll be discussing on the some of the simulations that ANSYS has done so far on COVID-19. So here you can see, here you can see whenever the person is coughing. So we have done a coughing simulation with a 3 feet distance. So you can see at a 3 feet distance, still the person or the particles, it will fall to or say for example his colleague. So it is falling to his right shoulder. So still it is effective. He will get infected when the person has any person is infected with virus, right? So 3 feet is not a safer distance. You can see because of the and you can see when the person is coughing, some of the particles will fall onto his right shoulder, and later some of the particles will, because of the gravity, it will fall down, right? So 3 feet is not a safer distance. What ANSYS has done simulation, and later with a 6 feet distance, so nobody is getting infected, but the particles, because of the gravity, it is falling down. So 6 feet is a safer distance than a 3 feet distance. So here you can see, and you can here what they have used is they have used a SpaceClaim for their design modeler, and Fluent for their simulation, and post processing also they have done in Nsight. Nsight is one of the post processing tool that we have in ANSYS. So these are the ANSYS softwares they have used, like in the ANSYS itself. Okay, so this is what ANSYS has found out. With the 6 feet, it is a lot safer distance. You can see now a comparison between 3 feet and 6 feet. So either if it's better that you'll keep a harm and cough or sneeze, right? So that is a safer who is standing beside you, right? So later you can see a ventilator simulation. We have just did a ventilator simulation here, like by supplying an amount of oxygen. So you can see how much maximum amount of oxygen that is there in this ventilating system. right? So oxygen flow and a frequency, that also we have ANSYS has done on this type of simulation, ventilator simulation. And here mask, wearing a mask, say whenever you are wearing a mask, it should be properly fitted. Say for example, if you're sneezing or coughing, the particle should not come out, right? So that's how you will keep your keep yourself and the other person safe, right, without getting infected. So when you are properly not fitting a mask, here you can see at the left image. So when the person is not properly fitted to a mask, to his face, like nose completely covering and a mouth completely covering from nose to mouth. So if it is not properly fitted, you can see the amount of particles or the velocity particles that are coming out with in the form of droplets, right? So that you have seen. So with the properly fitted mask, there is some amount of particles that are releasing out of that mask. So here you can see a maximum at the left, and here it is minimum. So these types of simulations you can do. Here also they have used SpaceClaim to design the product, to design the face mask, to design a face. And later they have used Fluent discrete face model, and later they have used post-processing as an insight. So going ahead, whenever the person is inhaling or a drug delivery is done through to his body, so what is the amount of time it is taken from the mouth to lungs? So that we have calculated here. So you can see seconds like 2 or 2.5 seconds, you can see that is reaching to the lungs here, right? So this is these are the type of simulations that we have done, like social distancing, wearing a mask, ventilator, and inhalation of a drug, right? So okay, so one more slide that when the person is coughing without a mask, and with when the person is coughing with a cloth mask. So here you can see without a mask, you can see the particles are spreading very widely. The persons immediately who is standing or person who is nearby will be getting immediate effect of that, and he'll be also infected, right? So always you should wear a mask. And so these types of simulations, like simulation wearing a mask and without a mask, we have done. So you can see with reaching at 3 meter distance, so it took around 6 seconds, 6.5 seconds. So with without a mask, and with wearing a mask, it took around for 6 seconds. It is reaching around 1 meter. So it is a lot safer than the without a mask, right? So later you will see social distancing while talking, right? It is a very safer distance, 1.5 meters, right? When you are running side by side, if the person is coughing or sneezing, the flow particles will flow behind, flow behind him, right? So it will not get affected to the person who is running side by side here. And later, running side by side is a safer distance, and running behind each other is less safer, because you can see the particles or droplets will fall onto you. Will fall on to the other person who is running behind. And in a staggered position, it is less effective actually. Okay, less effective. And that staggered position also should be should be a longer distance when you are running behind each other. So these are the type of simulations that ANSYS has done. And here you can see booth where the person is coughing or is sneezing. You can see through ventilation it is going out. So that's how you need to design your booth, and if not get infected, right? So wind and mask effects, you can see with respect to the wind how it is static air. With the social distancing, the person is still getting affected, but little effect you can see without wearing a mask here, right? Here you can see without wearing a mask. So here you can see the particles that are sprayed on, the fallen onto him. So you can see some of the particles are fall under his space with this boundary condition, like 1.8 with a 6 feet distance with the static air, right? It is not sufficient still, and we have done a simulation with a gentle breeze actually. So there is a little breeze, and you can see still you are getting affected. So you can see a particles, the particles or droplets which are fall onto face, and later with the 3.1 mm social distancing with the gentle breeze. Here we have only parameter that has been changed is the distance between these two people. Still you are getting affected, right? So whenever you are wearing a mask after that, so you can see those analysis also. Sorry. So when a person is coughing with the mask, so you will be less effective. You'll be at a safer side. So these are the type of simulations that which we have done in ANSYS so far, and so now I'll be covering overview of CFD process. So introduction to ANSYS Fluent. So how does the ANSYS Fluent works? I'll be telling you. So this is the basic. In this overview of CFD process, what you do is I'll be explaining some of the key stages, and how to go ahead planning the planning stage to analyze the end results, and how do you know what are the basics of CFD and how it works, and what are the different steps that are involved in successfully completing the CFD project. Right, so we all know actually what is CFD. CFD is like predicting of fluid flow, heat transfer, chemical reactions, and related phenomena. And CFD solves these are the conservation equations like mass, momentum, and energy equations. And what is the information that you are looking when the fluid flow in the fluid flow behavior, like distribution of pressure, velocity, temperature. Forces like lift and drag, distribution of exam if you are doing the multi-phase application or a multi-phase problem. So what are the results that you are looking for? Distribution of a multi-phase flows like gas and liquid, gas and solid, and species combustion like reactions, combustions, or pollutants. These are, and there are much more than that, right? And what are the CFD is used in all the stages of engineering process. Like, if you are studying a new design, there also the CFD is used, and detailed product development, and in optimization, in troubleshooting and redesign, right? So I hope you know there's no necessary to briefly explain about this slide. So we'll go ahead, and this is where this is how actually all the softwares, like whatever the softwares that are there, not only ANSYS I'm saying, like you have different softwares. So in all the softwares, this is one of the method they'll use, like they'll use a governing general differential equation, like they'll unsteady term, convection term, diffusion term, and a generation term, right? So this is for a general fluid flow analysis that you'll be using. So for each of the cells, it will you have to solve the equations like mass, momentum, and energy. And additionally, if you have any other equations also, you will be solving for each of the cell. You will be solving those equations, those number of equations for each of the cell. Okay, so all the partial differential equations are disguised into algebraic systems, and those algebraic equations are solved numerically to get those solution field, right? So each of the domain, like if you are importing the domain from the space claim to the meshing, you'll be dividing the domain. So you'll be dividing the domain into number of subdomains, and later for those subdomains you'll be solving the equations. So that's how this CFD works, right? So how do you define your goals actually? So what are the results? So you will be before going into the models or before going into the simulation, so you'll be having an idea to what are the results that you are looking from this simulation, right? So that you have to define those before jumping into the simulation or before creating any CAD model, right? So on what are the assumptions that you make, whether my geometry, it might be asymmetry or periodicity or axisymmetry. that you need to check, and what are the assumptions that I need to make for the simulation. And later, what are the physical models, like in the sense whether my flow is laminar, turbulent, multi-physics, or heat exchanger, or combustion. So these are the models that you have to check for in your analysis. And what is the degree of accuracy that you need? Okay, like plus or minus 5% with respect to the comparison that you want to do. So the degree of accuracy you need to check, and how quickly you need the results. So before you can tomorrow you need the results, you can't do a finer mesh to get those results, right? Like the coarse mesh is fine enough to get some prediction on the results. So that also depends, and you quickly, in the sense, like it directly comes to configure of the system or the HPC license that you have. So it depends on that also. So, and the CFD is an appropriate tool, that also you need to check to whether CFD is an appropriate tool for my simulation, or you need to use any other tool. That also you need to define your goals. And identifying your domain, like my domain of interest. What is my domain of interest? So here, dotted line, you can see that is my domain of interest. So I don't need this extra CAD model that I have created. I don't need this. So I'll split this at this part here at the dotted line do, and here also I'll split. I'll take only this dotted line domain, and I'll go ahead with the meshing and the simulation. So that is very important in identifying your domain of domain. So and later you need to boundary information for those at these boundaries, and boundary types, whether my boundary is pressure far field, velocity inlet, or a pressure inlet. So what are my boundary types, and whether you have a reasonable data that you can give at that point. So that also you can check it. So as I have said, axisymmetric or a 2D problem is fine enough to give if there are no 3D effects. If there are no 3D effects, 2D is fine enough. It will reduce your mesh count, computation and time, right? So you need to select your domain of interest. Once you select your domain of interest, what you need to do is you need to create your geometry, or make use of the existing CAD model itself, right? So how will you obtain a fluid region here? Say example here where I have taken original CAD model is this one. So if I'm going to do an internal fluid, so I don't need this fillets, bolts and all, I don't need it. So I'll extract the fluid region inside this pipe, right? And I'll go ahead with the meshing and give the boundary conditions and solving it. So that is how you need to create your model once your domain of interest is set, right? So, and make use of a symmetry or periodicity, that also you have to check it. If you are taking a simple pipe, you can make use of an axisymmetric assumption, condition for that, and you can do 2D analysis itself, right? So that is also you can reduce your computation time here. Going ahead, design and creating. So once you have identified your domain of interest, later what you have done is you have created your solid model, or you have used an existing model itself, right? After that, what you need to do is you need to create a mesh. So what is the degree of mesh resolution that is required to that region of the domain? So if you are taking an underhood car here, you can see an underhood car. So for sharp edges and all, you need to do a very finer mesh there, right? So you can't do a structured mesh. So you need to do either unstructured mesh there, tetrahedron or a pyramid or a triangle, those type of element types that you need to use. And you can see what type of mesh is appropriate, that I have said here, like whether it's structured, unstructured, or which of the element type that is suited for that type of CAD model. And finally, you need to check for computer resources, whether do you have any sufficient computer resources to solve a large case type of problems, right? So those you can check, right? And later what you do is after defining your domain of interest, designing your CAD model, creating a mesh, you will be setting up the solver, setting up the physics, I can say. For a given problem, you need to know or define material properties like fluid, solid, and mixture. Okay, define your material properties. So you can set up the physical models like turbulence, combustion, multi-phase. Also, you can select depending on your simulations, right? And what are the operating conditions for that simulation, or the boundary conditions, the boundary values for that, and initial values to start your simulation, and solver controls, like what are the methods that you use for that, and convergence monitors, like pressure drop at the outlet, mass flow rate at the outlet. So those type of convergence monitors you will be creating before starting the simulation or running it, before calculating it, right? So most of the time people say that multiphysics is like very hard to set up a problem. So this type here, it is a tank filling setup. Here for this type of problems, it will take maximum 20 minutes to set up this problem. 2D problem here we have done it. So this is with a half tank, it is filled. Once the inlet, through inlet, the fluid will flow, and through over YouTube this thing pipe, it will fill this tank. So this is a very simple simulation, multiphysics simulation. So most of the time it looks tougher, like it is very difficult to set up this type of problem. So this is very simple. In 20 minutes you can do it as a multi-phase setup. You can do it. Okay. So I hope after that you will be once your domain is created, you have identified, you have created your CAD model, meshed it, setting up the physics you have done. What you do is you will be computing the solution. So computing the solution for the equations or the physical models that you have selected, right? So there should be the convergence should be from one iteration to other next one, it should be negligible. Okay, there should not be too much difference between that. So you should check for overall property conservation, whether it is achieved or not, imbalances with the inlet and outlet, and quantities of interest. Say, for example, drag, what is the drag or a pressure drop that you have, whether it is reached a steady state with respect to the iterations, or a monitor points if you have created. So those you need to check for convergence monitors, right? And accuracy, it depends on appropriateness and accuracy of the physical models that you have selected, and the assumptions that you have made while doing it, like whether it is symmetry or periodicity or axisymmetry. So those assumptions. So and mesh resolution and grid independence test also you can do it, and then finally errors, right? So this is how you need to flow, and see at high before running, you can see high residuals, high residual values. You will see it, and later you will see falling down to 10 power minus 4 or 10 power minus 3. So Fluent uses default convergence rate as 10 power minus 3 here, and you can customize that, and you can reduce to 10 power minus 6 depending on your simulation, right? So examining the results, like you will visualization as tools such as like overall flow pattern is okay or not, whether is there any separation. You will observe the shock or shear layers, or finally you will be setting the convergence monitors, whether these key flow features are resolved or not. So these features also you need to check once your simulation is done, or while the simulation is going on. And numerical reports, like in the form of quantitative in the sense, in the number form numbers, forces, moments, or average heat transfer coefficients, surface and volume integrated quantities, or flux balances, mass inlet and mass outlet. So those you need to check it. So you need to examine your results for these conditions, and later if these are all okay, and if they are not okay, what you do is you need to consider revisions to your model. Revisions to your model in the sense you need to check for physical models, whether they are appropriate, whether the flow is turbulent, whether it's unsteady, Are there any 3D effects? If you are doing 2D and the results you are not getting, or the behavior you are not getting, so you can you need to jump for 3D and check for that results. So that you need to check. And boundary conditions, whether my boundary conditions are fine enough, or the computational domain is large enough to get those results. Because whenever you are trying to whenever the computational domain is small, you can see a large reverse flow that is happening. So you need to make a computational domain large enough to know where it should not affect the reverse flow. So that you need to check. And boundary conditions and boundary values, reasonably you need to give the boundary conditions for that. And depending mesh, you need to do a mesh independence test before going to do one simulation. You need to do at what point, or you need to fix the mesh size there, right? So at that, for that you need to do a mesh independence test. And mesh resolution, or the mesh fine enough to get the results, that you need to check it. And finally, you need to check for pure quality cells. See, most of the time what we know is we'll be doing the physical models correctly and boundary conditions correctly. Only thing we'll be messing up is that in the meshing itself, like in the pre-processing stage, like we'll be having some issues in the CAD, or in the meshing stage itself we'll be having some issues. So you need to properly define, or you need to see those properly check the quality mesh, and then go ahead with the giving the boundary condition, physical models and the boundary conditions. So mesh should be very with a good quality cells, it should be there, right? Okay, and this is our overall. It comes like once you have identified your problem, you have defined your goals, identification of your domain that you have done. So what you will do, that domain which you have domain of interest, that you will take to the geometry to design it and mesh it to domain into number of subdomains, and later you will be setting up the physics and solver settings, right? And later that you do computing the solution here, and after computing the solution you will examine the results, right? So that's what you have to do. And later, once the results are fine enough for you, what you do is you need to go for prototype testing and manufacturing of that. And if the if the results are not properly, if you have not achieved properly, again what you do is you need to go for pre-processing, solving, and then post-processing. So that's how you need to. This is like an algorithm that you need to flowchart that you need to follow. Sorry, and yeah. And going at conclusions, CFD is like a very powerful tool, like it will solve complex flows in engineering systems. And extreme care should be taken when you are handling geometry, meshing, and flow model, physical models, and boundary conditions, material properties, and convergence criteria. So these are the extreme care should be taken on these 5 points, right? So this is the conclusion, and later I'll show one test video here, test case video, which test case video for a GT Ferrari. They have used Fluent meshing and Fluent as a solver for their instead of using their wind tunnels, they have used Fluent meshing, mosaic meshing, and Fluent solver for their Formula 1 car. Okay, so I'll just play this. I'm sorry. Yeah.
When you think of motorsport, one of the first names that comes to the forefront of your mind is Ferrari. Has always extended well beyond Formula 1 and also embrace GT endurance racing. If you sum up GT racing as a whole, it's basically road cars going onto racetracks and competing in all the endurance races around the world. We go against manufacturers like Porsche, Corvette, Aston Martin, so it's very competitive. And obviously having technical partners like ANSYS, for example, is extremely key to winning races and winning championships. ANSYS' new parallel mosaic-enabled meshing technology is making a tremendous impact on our external aerodynamic CFD process. The powerful parallelization provides us a speed-up factor of more than 4 in the mesh generation task, and we can now run 3 times as many simulations in the same amount of time. Using wind tunnels on GT cars is extremely expensive, which is why a partner like ANSYS is so important to Ferrari, being able to extract the maximum amount of our aerodynamic ability through CFD is vital to our performance on track. To remain leaders in our field, we embark every couple of years on a technology assessment, and we finally found that ANSYS products and ANSYS services are the best in class.
So this is one of the success story from GT1 Ferrari. So I'll be, I think there is 20 minutes time. So I'll be giving you a demo on this with a simple aerofoil NACA. I think this is, I think you have know this, like, you know, NACA 0012 aerofoil, like in the, many of the people they use, they'll start with their simulation from this actually. So this is the demonstration I'll be giving it. So I'll be just sharing my screen again with Fluent. So let me know whether it is we were able to view this. So I think you are able to see this, no, sir? Can anyone reply on that?
Yes, yes, visible.
Yeah, thank you, sir. So this is the Fluent. Okay. So this is how that GUI looks when you open Fluent. Okay. So either from Fluent, from the all programs, you can open a Fluent. See here I have ANSYS 18 point version to latest version, which is 2021 R2 it is there. I have not installed it, but this is how it looks. So
Sir, it's not visible.
It is not visible.
One second, sir. One second. I think I have shared only one.
Yeah, now
window.
it's okay.
I have to share entire screen. I'm not able to do it. I hope that now it is sharing, right? So this is how it looks like when you open Fluent. This is the mesh that that is how it looks. You can zoom in and check whether it is symmetry or not. NACA 0012 that we have checked it, and you can see a very fine mesh that has been made near to the aerofoil, right? So here we have used a pressure far-field boundary condition. Okay, pressure far-field boundary condition we have used, and okay. So once you import, once you read a mesh file, read a mesh. Okay, once you read a mesh. So this is how it looks in the graphics. Okay, later once you read a mesh, what you do is you need to check for mesh display units, display the faces also, like edges. Only you need edges, that also you can view, or if you need only outline also, you can define only outline also. So this is how the outline looks. You have aerofoil and you have the outer boundary, right? And I'll just commit that default India display. Okay. So later what you have to do is you need to check for units. If there are any necessary changes that need to be done in ANSYS in units, you need to check. And you can see units like, angular velocity, RPM, radians per second, degree per second, right? You have pressure, Pascal's ATM, everything you have here, and you have viscosity, you have velocity, you have volume flow rate. So these are the different units that you have, and defaultly, if you have any new one also, you can click here new one, and you can add there for your simulation. And here you have a solver based, which is pressure and density based. Pressure based is used for incompressible flows only, and density based compressible flows. You can use a solver type here, and later you can reach for a steady or transient here. Okay, whether your simulation carries only a steady state or a transient, that you can do it. And here it is a 2D space or axisymmetry or axisymmetric fill, that you need to check it. It depends on your simulation. Now here it is defaulted, it is a planar, so it is taken as a planar here. If not, you have to mention it whether it is axisymmetric or not. Okay, and gravity, whenever you have a multi-phase flow or a heat transfer type of problems, so for those type of applications, this gravity is necessary, right? So like natural convection problems or a multi-phase type of flows or a combustion. So depends on the models or a simulation that you can activate this gravity. And later you have models here. In the models, you have multi-phase, energy, viscous, radiation. So these are the different type of models which are there in Fluent. So right now, defaultly, earlier what we used to do is we used to keep defaultly as a laminar, but Fluent has kept, because of the they have seen more users, they use a turbulent flow for their simulations. So they have kept k omega as their k omega attenuation model, that they have kept it here. So SST and default convergence, and we have activated energy equation for this, because Mach number that we are going to use is a 0.7, which is a transonic. And depending on the model, or depending on your simulation, you can activate radiation, energy, species transport if there is any chemical reaction, or methane and oxygen mixing takes place. So at that time you have to define the reactions for that, and a discrete phase or a solidification and melting, acoustic structure, and battery simulations, right? So right now we'll be doing only a fluid flow analysis. You can see a k omega is activated here as the default one, and later you will go to the materials. You'll be seeing air. Density is calculated using an ideal gas equation. I hope you all know what is ideal gas, right? So using ideal gas equation, the density is calculated. And later what you do is you will go to boundary conditions. In the boundary conditions, far field, when you click a far field here, type, in the type you will see a mass flow inlet, pressure far field, pressure inlet, symmetry, pressure outlet, overset. So there are different types of boundary conditions here. So depending on your boundary type, you can use. Right now we will be using a far field boundary condition, where the gauge pressure is given here with a Mach number as a 0.7. Here I'm not changing the angle of attack, x direction and y component flow direction. You can change it, and you can give the value here, but I am giving there is no zero for a zero angle of attack flow direction here. Okay, and remaining will be a default. Here I have given thermal for that temperature, or for that Mach number, for that pressure I am giving 283 temperature Kelvin. Okay, if you find out any one of the with the different Mach numbers, you can find out a property table in the browser, in the internet. You will find out for this Mach number what will be the pressure and what will be the temperature. So you'll be finding out that in the internet or a browser, or you can calculate if you through formulas also, right? So that also can be done. So those properties you can find out, and later say apply, and you have an aerofoil upper and aerofoil lower here as a wall, and defaultly this is an interior grid that is defaultly Fluent is generating. If you are not creating any one name selection, it will create that as a default. Okay, So later what you do is you will go to the methods here. In the methods, what you do is you will be selecting methods here, like a measure velocity coupling, like, coupled, simplex, piezo, or coupled, right? Simple, I think simple and simplex, most of the academic type of problems, like, fluid flow over a cylinder, 2D cylinder, fluid flow over an aerofoil. So no, those type of problems you'll be seeing. Most of the research, like, in the academics itself, you'll be most of the people they will be doing a research type of problems. So at those types you can use piezo and coupled. So Fluent will tell you, like, piezo, most of the time piezo has given you a result when there is an unsteady and with a heat transfer. So, and coupled, it is like robust for all type of problems. You can use like fluid flow, heat transfer, combustion. For all the types, it will give you a better results. Okay, so here earlier simple would be a default value, a default scheme, but they have defaultly now they have kept as a coupled, because most of the problems that users they are using coupled for the research type of problems. So that's why we have made these upgrades with the default itself. From the small minor changes, we have made it with the users perspective, what they use actually. Okay, so you can special discretization, depending on that you can choose your discretization, whether it is second order or first order, and you can control your solution controls for a pressure equation, momentum, density, or a body forces energy equation. So most of the time we'll say that default values for solution controls will be very much useful for you. You don't have to use those controls unless you know particularly which one to reduce it, right? And later you need to create. Here I have created okay, so here I have created a drag coefficient for aerofoil lower and aerofoil upper. Okay, so, and later same as for lift coefficient also. The only thing you can change name here as a lift coefficient, that also you can do. I have kept a default, and you can select an aerofoil where you need a lift and air drag coefficient. Here I have selected aerofoil are lower and upper case. Okay, so these are my monitor points. Whether they are giving the results or not, that I need to, I'll see that with these values. Okay, so I'll report a file also, because I need a file also when it is done, or if I need those report file. So I'll report the file also here, and report plot. In the report plot, in the sense it will plot it here in the graphics window. Report file, it will give an external data file. Okay, and when you say print to console, it will print it here in the console window. Okay, so this is the setup here, and here in the console window you can check the mesh here, and later when you enter into the mesh, you can see the size here. What is my size? So you can see there are 36,000 cells that are there in the this domain, or this entire simulation. For this simulation we have used those many cells, right? So with GUI, like, for the graphics user interface, like what you are doing here, you can do it same way in here as a console window. By entering in this, you can define your models, like, what are the models you have in the models, whatever models you have, like what multi-phase models in the, say for example, viscous. In the viscous way models, same, for example, if you go here in the models, so you will see in the viscous, you will see laminar, turbulent, everything, right? So here also you will see that K epsilon, K omega, which type of turbulence models you need to select. Only thing, you will be using a console window here. So you can use both, like, in the graphics also you can use the console window for that also. So both way you can select your options or select the models you need it. And we have created a report definitions that are the monitor convergence monitor points that we need. And after that, what we'll do, either we need to initialize the solution through hybrid initialization. See, most of the time, Fluent says that hybrid initialization is used whenever you don't have an inlet and outlet, right? So, like say for example, multi-phase problem that we have seen. So there is no inlet problem, no dam break problem that we have seen. Okay, there is no inlet and outlet. Only thing we have for say for example, some 1,000 cells we are patching those as a water, and remaining will be air. So at that point, you don't have to define from the standard. You can directly go from hybrid initialization. When you say standard initialization, you know from where to initialize from far field. So this is my flow that is taking place, right? You can see pressure that I have given, that is there far field, and you can see in the Mach number I have given. So Mach number, it is calculated as a velocity here in terms of meter per second. And later, these are the default values that it is taking in the Fluent, and this is the temperature that I have given for a far field boundary, right? So once it is there, I'll click initialize. I'll say okay, because I have already done it. So just for my sample query, and later I'll go to the run calculation. I'll click number of iterations. I have given 500. I think these are not necessary, but in case I have given 500, and I'll click calculate. Do you want to create a new one? Because I have already told you I have run it once. It says, do you want to create a new one? No, overwrite on the same file. And here you can see how the conversions is taking place for continuity, X, Y, and energy, because it is a 2D model. So here you can see scale residuals. Here you can see a drag coefficient. Here you can see a lift coefficient, that is CL, right? So that is how it takes around, I think, 70 or 80 iterations. See here you can see the conversions. It is how it is happening with respect to the residuals. You see here continuity, X, Y, energy, K, and omega, right? So these are the equations that are solving, and we are monitoring points for drag coefficient, and you can see a steady state value has reached here. So steady state value has reached till for 30 iterations. It was like, you know, so once the iteration is completed, you can see a calculation is completed. It will show you, and here you can see for till the 30 iterations there was some oscillation, sorry, and after that you can see there is a steady state. You have got a steady state value for a drag coefficient, and we can see a lift coefficient for that also. So that is also we have got. This is for a zero angle of attack that we are seeing here. Okay, I have told you already that a solution in the solutions, when you go to the residuals, in the residuals, what you do is you can change your monitor points here. Okay, you can add more zeros here, more energy. It's defaultly 10^6, and you can add more zeros here and say okay. When you say okay for that conversions that you have edited, so for that conversions it will try to run the simulations for further if you want to go ahead and run the simulation. Okay, so this is what it does. And whenever you say, for example, you want to save this file, so here you have a save image, save picture, save image. Okay, save, go to the site, save my computer or HP. I'll save it in dam break files. I'll just save it here as a Naka residuals and click OK. So it will save there. Okay, in that files there it will save. You can save the same here also for a drag coefficient. You can save it. That also you can do. You can save here also. And one more thing, in the graphics window, you can add a more number of windows here also. You can add more number of windows just by right clicking here and say new window. So that also you can do. Here in the new window 4, what I do is I'll create one contour plot here, say new. And here I'll add pressure, static pressure. So this is the static pressure that you have here with the high pressure here, right? So okay. So here you can say maximum pressure that is acting here at this nose of that aerofoil, and later you can see there is a symmetric behavior of the fluid, right? So later on it will go to that it will go into the flow. And here you have seen a pressure here. You can see velocity same. Y velocity here you can see that it will be a 0, right? It will be 0, and you can see a symmetric profile or a symmetric behavior here also on this velocity profile. And you can plot coefficients also. XY plot results, XY plot, new one, where you can plot pressure coefficient of that aerofoil upper and lower, say plot. So you can see pressure plotting can also be done. And one more thing, what you can do is you can write this file also. See, whenever you are plotting here, okay, so here you can write your file externally. You can write your file, external file, like as an external file also you can write it. Okay, so as an xfile file you can find it, and later you can transfer that file into the Excel sheet for the further use. Okay, and here you can save this same image like I have shown it earlier, right? And in the velocity, I can show you a turbulence with the Mach number. Sorry, yeah, sorry, Mach number, say display. So you will be getting the same profile as a velocity. Only thing, this is non-dimensional, and that was a dimensional value you are seeing. And for XY plot, you can see a turbulence wall Y plus also, wall Y plus say plot. So this is the wall Y plus. So the domain that we have taken is not up to the scale, but yeah, so you'll be getting the wall Y plus like this in this format. So everything can be recorded, or if you want to save this image file, that also can be done. Or if you want this in the file format, you have to say write to a file, and you need to write somewhere, and you can load that file which you have written also. You can load it when you have any written file in the format .xf file. So you can load that file here also. Okay, that also you can do it. So that's this. So I think left here. I'll just check. Yeah, actually, if you go ahead, you will have a lot of things that you can do for a different angle of attack. You can do analysis. There will be a lot of data you will be getting. See, this took around for me around I think 3 minutes, right? So if you're doing from the scratch, if you are trying to do geometry, taking the aerofoil points, taking that in the space frame, designing your external computational domain, and later doing the mesh and solving it. So hardly take 1 to 2 hours time. In that period you will complete, and you'll be getting the results in the simulation. So this with this I'll end my talk. So if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. Thanks, thank you, sir. So I'll take questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Satish. Excellent presentation. Excellent presentation, Francis.
Thank you very much.
So please read out the questions.
Yeah.
Sir, you can also see the chat box. People have given many questions. I will also read it out. Yes, there is a question.
I'll start.
IC engine combustion analysis is better in Fluent or Forte?
Forte is better, sir, because you will be having a domain. Here what you need to do is you need to create a domain in Fluent. there the standard instructions you have, and you can create it there. And there are more input variables that you can do, that you can give in Forte, that is more flexible, particularly for IC engine. So in Fluent, you need to some of the time you need to give for you need to use an UDF if some parameters are not there. So it is better use when you are doing an IC engine compression analysis, go with Forte itself, not Fluent. Okay, and as I am seeing question between two concentric tubes, suppose there is a vacuum, how to model and simulate in ANSYS Fluent? If there are two concentric tubes, suppose there is a vacuum. What you are trying to get here, sir? Like, what are the results that you are trying to get here? That if I get it, then if you're doing only heat transfer or a diffusion, you can give a temperature filled with air, and you can see how that is behaving inside tubes. Like, if you are doing a heat transfer problem, so that you can do heat transfer. You can design a concentric tube, and later you can patch entire thing as an vacuum, as a whatever material you have, and later you can do analysis, a heat transfer analysis. I guess that is a heat transfer analysis, say vacuum. So there is one more question: how to perform analysis on heat pipe, which is a closed geometry and has an evaporator, adiabatic, and condenser section, where process of evaporation and condensation are involved. What type of boundary condition, initial conditions are required? Actually, this is I am sorry to say this, but this is my out of my domain of expertise. But still, I'll maybe in the Fluent you have a solidification and melting model. Okay, through that you can do your analysis or perform your heat pipe using these conditions. So you can do it through solidification and melting model in this one. So evaporator, and we are seeing condenser section, so that will be a better model to do these type of analysis. So analysis of particles with and without mask is interesting. Okay, and later sorry, which version of Fluent you are using, sir? I'm using 2020 R2. So now the latest version you will be getting as a student version, also you will be getting as a 2021 R2. That is the latest version with a lot of features in that, with for a student version also. So only thing when you are trying to do, you should have a sufficient computer resources. So the disk space has been increased. So earlier we need to, we used to take the disk space in a local drive, which it was taking around 32 GB. Now it is taking around 60 GB. So you can imagine how many number of models has been added every versions. For every versions, there has been number of adding models, new models. So if you want to use student version, so keep a minimal space of 20 GB for your in the laptop. You have to keep so many difference. Okay. And what is the difference between pressure far field and pressure inlet boundary condition? In the pressure inlet condition, what you do is you'll be giving a pressure inlet as a in the far field, in the sense you don't have to give outlet for that. In the pressure far field, in the pressure inlet condition, you can give a pressure inlet and a pressure outlet boundary condition. In the pressure far field, pressure far field boundary condition is used particularly for ideal and incompressible when the Mach number comes to picture. So other than that, you can use pressure inlet boundary condition for other types, right? Say for example, you have a gear pump with a higher pressure, like in a positive displacement pump, where you need to create a higher pressure, right? So for aircrafts and all, you will be using the gear pumps for cooling systems. So at those types of for those types, you can use pressure inlet and pressure far field, right? Pressure inlet is used for those conditions. Yeah, student version of Forte is also available. That is also available. Only you can check there, but only thing you need to have a lot of space to install it. But it has been increased now. So student version of Forte, that is also is there. So yeah. Yeah, maximum node capacity will be around 5 lakh, 5.12 lakh cells. So for in the CFD, but in the mechanical it is very less. It is around 1.38 something lakh cells you can use. So I'm not getting this. How do we decide the value of Q like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3? Student version can be used. It is the expiry date is for for 1 year, 1 year contract based. Like you can use it for 1 year, but it is not. There are some options that are left out in that, but still you can use a student version to know how the software helps you, or how do you get those results. So that you can use for a student version, but for if you are using for more number of cells, please I think you will not get the results, or you will find out some error is it will throw you if you are using more than 5 lakh cells. So I think the contact details you can take it from Shekhar Majumdar sir. So
No, we will give, no problem.
yeah.
Sir, one more question.
Sir.
Satish sir, I want
Yes,
to get one clarification from you. The post-processing result you have shown,
Okay, sir.
which software you are basically using? TechPlot for CFD or?
No, sir, actually I am in Fluent only. See, in ANSYS we have 3 models. One is CFD post. Okay. And when you have in Fluent itself, we have one that post processing in Fluent itself we have, and
Yes.
one more we have as an Insight.
Okay.
ANSYS Insight. So this is the latest model with a more number of configurations, particularly focused for post processing itself.
Okay.
Now
But my question is this post processing thing can be given in research model, research papers, because the quality of the post processing is something about TechPlots.
I did not get it, sir. I did not get
The
what
papers in the research papers, basically TechPlot is used to show the
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, okay, results, okay.
to show the results. But
Okay.
is it Insight and CFD post is eligible for that?
Yes, sir,
So
yes,
the
sir, yes,
quality
sir.
results.
Yeah, yes. So everything, even if you have a TechPlot data also, you can transfer that only thing that format should be there.
Yeah.
So each and every format you can read it in the ANSYS CFD post, even in Fluent and even in Insight also.
Okay. Once quality type of pictures will come.
Yes, sir, definitely,
Yes.
sir. More quality pictures, if you want, you can use ANSYS Insight. So that is
Insight, yes.
more focused on only a post processing tool.
Acha.
So with many number of features actually.
Okay, ANSYS Insight, right?
ANSYS Insight, sir. ENSIGHT.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can answer screen. We'll take a photo session. Friends, please
requested to open
yeah, switch on your video.
Satish sir.
Hello, Satish ji.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you there? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Excellent informative presentation.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much.
As a friends, once by the time taking the photos, one announcement. Tomorrow the session is assessment session. Okay, So today we will give the PPTs. So today one Google Drive link will be given to you. So PPTs we were collecting, and today we'll put in the Google Drive today. And tomorrow we'll start the session exactly .10. And if somebody misses that, then we cannot help. 10 or 10.5 will start 30 questions, 1 hour. MCQ questions, okay, very simple, okay, and basics questions. Don't think that's a very use or difficult questions, not like that. Okay. Basics. Our prior aim is those who have really attended, they will be able to understand, they will be able to write easily. So that much effort we have put. Don't worry for that one. So simply go through the PPTs and everything, come prepared, and .10 or 10.5 will start. So those who will miss, we cannot help anything. Exactly 1 hour that will be stopped as per the AICTE norms and regulations. So we are trying within a couple of hours. We'll drop it in the video, that Google link that will be shared with you by today itself. Okay. So here again. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So thank you all.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for giving me the opportunity to talk on this. So I thank.
We are also fortunate enough to have you
Yes,
on our
sir, thank you,
platform.
Thank you very much, sir. And even I'll thank Dr.
We will
Shekhar
talk,
Majumdar.
don't worry. Sekhar sir is there actually. Once you come to the platform, we need your help and support.
Definitely, sir. Definitely, I'm happy to help you, and you can give a mail. I'll help you in the anywhere if necessary. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Hope that our participants would have enjoyed today's sessions. Okay, bye bye. We'll meet tomorrow.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, all participants. We are ending the session.